Oh, wait, we're recording. Okay.
Alright, put the camera up there.
I didn't
Okay, you're not in the frame at all.
It's probably better.
It's like, Sean is talking from off camera today on Neutral Zone Infraction / That Mediocre Sports Show.
Why the hell do I got to be so close to you? I don't want
Well, because this camera doesn't pan out. We could sit further back and it would probably pan out fine, but...
I stuck my hand in glue. Okay, this is That Mediocre Sports Show. I really need to take over more.
No, you really don't. See, now your face is over on the pause menu.
Okay, so that...
there you go. See, there you go. Lead back.
Okay. That Mediocre Sports Show /
Neutral Zone Infraction.
It's actually the other way around, but Neutral Zone Infraction.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
We have never gotten the name right.
I can keep my hand down. Okay, so today we were going to do a show.
Wasted a minute.
Okay, we're doing a show on draft, and the interesting thing about drafting is we were trying to find out if Mike Mayock, and we were going with Mel Kiper, and we are going to try to all their screw ups, and they delete them. There are no screw ups. You can get the top 15 of Mel Kiper's screw ups, but there's only 15, and Ryan Leaf was one of them. He should have been.
No, calling Jamarcus Russell the next John Elway.
Yeah, he did. He called Jamarcus Russell the next John Elway.
And if you don't know who Jamarcus Russell is, he was not the next John
and
Elway.
He should have been fired for that one.
I would have fired. If I'd have known that back then, I would have fired.
I want you guys to know, Randy and I spent 3 hours preparing for this show. And you know what?
Came up with
Nothing. We couldn't come up with a damn
So we
thing.
decided this is going to be a Seinfeld show about nothing.
So what we did was, as I reach off camera... Oh, by the way, I'm working on getting us desks because we've been told we need...
You know what? We wouldn't be able to see the desks. Look how high up we have to put this camera. Look, we got a lot of sky going on over here. Look at this. Look at all this up here. Just nothing. Nothing's up here. Wow, this is just...
But Platinums, they're really good. So, I've only had 2. Although this show, it took us 3 hours to study for this show, so if I act stupid, I have had 2 beers, and there's a good chance I have a buzz. Because I didn't eat anything today. Sorry, I touched you.
Oh.
So what we did was we decided to look at lots of material that was crap, and we came up with this. 45 years, we went back 45 years, 1969, and I hope I added that right.
Well, because, it's the man walked on the moon then. The 1969 man was on the moon.
And it was the year where the NFL got its first really great running back. Not its first, but one of its really great running backs, a Hall of Famer, a pretty decent actor, and a really good murderer.
Oh, yeah. Excellent murderer.
O.J. Simpson.
That's right.
So he was 1969's number 1 pick. So what Randy and I did is we went down all the drafts from 1969 to now. Believe it or not, there were players before that I had never heard of because I'm not that old, and that's why we didn't put them in this. Now, in that 45 years, we came up with this. There were 23 players that were busts. Now, there's a couple examples like Bo Jackson, but he got hurt, so he's a bust. Sorry.
Steve Bartkowski, which you don't agree is a bust, and I think he is a bust.
12 years for the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, well, that's a bust. You played 12 years for the Atlanta Falcons, and you've had a bad career.
How many Pro Bowls? He went to 2.
2.
So we based things on Pro Bowls, how many years you played, and if you were hurt, you were a bust. A good example,
Kajana Carter.
Thank you. Are you looking at my notes?
No, because you can't pronounce names. You had a problem with Nande Asamoah.
I called him Nadudi's Asamoah.
Yeah, you called him nowhere near his name.
Yeah. I don't. I got you here for that.
You couldn't even pronounce Suafilo's name.
I can't even pronounce Davis.
You got Davis right.
So basically, you come back to this. In 45 years, we've had 23 busts. And again, the busts were rated, if you're injured. We have one guy, Dan Wilkinson, played 13 years in the NFL. Maybe that's good, but not for the number 1 pick because he went to 0 Pro Bowls.
Well, you played 13 years in the NFL. A lot of people would say, well, that's a great, you played 13 years. Long snappers can play for 20-some years in the NFL. You wouldn't pick them first. Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson should not have been the number 1 pick. He was not worth the number 1 pick. And 13 years in the NFL and no Pro Bowls, you're not worth the number 1 pick.
Not Kajana Carter, although he is one that shouldn't have been.
Carson Palmer.
We did not think he was the number 1 pick.
He was not worth the
number 1 pick. Not worthy of the number 1 pick. Sorry, the wind's blowing my camera. No, we're on a boat. Randy and I have been told to leave the country and do our show offshore. So I'm on a boat, And that's
It was a long flight.
It's a long
flight, and it got us out here. Damn boats. I hate boats.
Yeah, so this
Hate boats. I had to put something in there.
So if you see this camera going like this, we're on a boat. Anyway, we had
We're on a boat.
22 good. So you had 23 bad, 22 good. That adds up to 45. I did the math. And we think there were about 3 or 4 greats. Out of all of those, Elway was a great, and Peyton Manning was a great. Ironically, they did play for the
Denver Broncos, yeah.
And
Orlando Pace was a great.
He was.
He was a great. I'll give him a.
And there were
Then we threw in somebody else who wasn't a Bronco.
11. He wanted to be 11 Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers. And Randy and I picked. We do think Andrew Luck will be a Hall of Famer. We do think that
Peyton
Manning, unless he shoots somebody or something stupid nowadays, will be a Hall of Famer. So basically, 45 years, 11 Hall of Famers, 23 busts, 22 good picks. That's not great. So Randy and I decided that we could do this. Really?
Why can't? Okay, they should just let the fans pick their players for them. Because I'll guarantee you this. I was watching a thing on that 1995 NFL draft. Warren Sapp had a chance to go to the Jets with the 8th pick because Warren Sapp kept slipping in the draft. All of the fans were chanting for Warren Sapp to be taken. All of the Jets fans were chanting for Warren Sapp to be taken. Who did they take with that 8th pick in the NFL draft that year?
I have a life. I don't know.
Kyle Brady, tight end.
Tom Brady's brother?
But Kyle Brady played like maybe 8 to 10 years in the NFL as an average tight end. Dare I say mediocre? Yeah, mediocre tight end.
A lot of mediocre number 1 players.
You could have had Warren Sapp, future Hall of Famer and bankruptcy victim.
Okay, but I would like to say this.
Not to mention he said something stupid that got him fired from the NFL Network. So,
that was the
but
hooker. That was the hooker.
Oh, that's right, it was the hooker.
He didn't say anything. Well, he
might have said something stupid like how much.
He did say he got in an argument in a hotel room about how much you make $500,000 a year, and you are.
Well, remember he's had to claim bankruptcy twice, so I mean he doesn't spend his money well. Maybe
and he sold his Super Bowl ring. I was going to say that had Warren Sapp gone to the New York Jets, would his career have been shortened because of drug use and everything? Because that is a place.
I don't think drug use was ever Sapp's real issue. I mean, you can't get drugs in Florida. Miami's kind of a hotbed there. It's like you're not that far away.
I was trying to say that Warren Sapp was screwed.
I think Warren Sapp would have had a great career no matter where he went.
And he did get screwed in the draft because I was bringing up the drug thing to say that I do believe that there were rumors out there that he was doing drugs, and I don't think he was doing the drugs they were saying. Meaning, you know what? He might have been doing pot. I don't know. He might have been drinking. I don't know. But the coke and everything.
Yeah, they accused him of doing cocaine. It's not that he ever really denied the pot usage, but he did deny emphatically that he used cocaine.
If you come to Colorado, it's
well, not back in 1995. He couldn't have.
That's a good point. Okay. So basically, that's that. So out of this, we have decided. And we're going to do some other shows. We come up with the Broncos they were the worst draft pickers. I said that. I wish I hadn't said that. It just sounded bad. But they were the worst pickers between the years of 60 and 83 when they got Elway. That's not entirely true. They got Lyle Alzado and some other ones, but the Broncos used to pick kickers.
And defensive backs.
In the 70s.
In the 60s.
In the 60s.
In the 60s and the 70s. Okay, think about it. The 60s and 70s. What were people doing most of the time? They were running the football. What were we drafting in those years? Defensive backs.
And kickers.
Kickers.
Really mediocre.
Well, because we were going to have to punt a lot. Because we weren't drafting running backs and offensive linemen. No. We were drafting defensive backs. And I don't know, maybe they were run-stopping defensive backs? Could that have been what they were drafting? No, they were drafting defensive backs in a running era.
So,
defensive backs.
So, Randy, we're gonna do this, seeing as how we have as good a shot as anybody. Who is your number 1, number 2 pick this year in the NFL draft? Now, we're going on a limb here because
We didn't study for this at all.
No, the reason I limited it to 2 is because I can't remember who number 3 is.
Right now, well, I'll just say this. Right now, I do not trust Jameis Winston. And I'll tell you why. Somebody actually made this comparison to me, and it really kind of rang true. When the scouts and everything were meeting Jamarcus Russell, they loved his personality. They loved his fire. They decided that he should have been the number 1 pick. Okay, everybody was enamored with him. They said he is worth it.
Mel Kiper even.
Mel Kiper thought he was going to be the next John Elway.
Car salesman.
Yeah.
Come on, that was funny. Give me that. That was funny.
Jameis Winston has a lot of these same things. Right now, a lot of the people that are talking to him, they like him on a personal level. They like him. They're not paying attention to all these problems that Jameis Winston had in his past. That is going to come up and I think bite them. I think Jameis Winston is going to end up being kind of a Jamarcus Russell. I think he'll play a few more years in the NFL than Jamarcus Russell, but I think that Jameis Winston is going to get in trouble at some point because I don't think he is mature enough. I think he kind of went to the Johnny Manziel school of I can say the right thing to the press and to general managers. All these people nowadays, they know they're coached on what to say to people. Stop that. But it's like they're coached. I mean, it's like everybody now they teach these kids how to talk to general managers, to the press. So they say all the right things. They say all the right things to your face, but they do all the wrong things behind your back. Well, nothing's done behind your back because nowadays everybody's got a camera, so everybody can see.
Okay, we're at 11 minutes, and we have to
we
have to make these shows shorter than 15 because there are a lot of people
people can't watch them on their breaks.
A lot of people are watching our shows on their breaks. And anyway, by the way,
some of our shows are 36 minutes breaks.
If you're out there, you don't have to watch us. Matter of fact, I would say just listen to us. It'd be better. So I'm going to say...
Plug something in your ear, just listen, because watching us is no good. We don't do anything exciting here. We should have a radio show. Yeah, you do that.
And okay, the other thing I want to say is the draft to me, I'm going to go on a little tangent here because Randy does them all and I want one. Michael Sam. We've done a little bit on him on the show before. And
I don't think we've ever put one of those shows out where we talked about Michael Sam.
No. So here's the thing. You got the number 1 defensive player in the SEC last year.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. My bad. Was it 2 years ago?
2 years ago, he was the best player in the SEC.
Wasn't that last year?
Best defensive player. No, 2013.
No, it was last year.
He was drafted last year, but he was the 2013.
And I'm the one drinking beer. So, okay, I get
At one point in his career...
God damn it, we went another minute just trying to figure that out.
That's all right, we still got time. It's like he was voted the defensive player of the year in the SEC, the best football conference in college football.
Okay, I got it. I understand what you're saying now. They may not, but I get it. So basically what we're saying, he was voted number 1, or whatever. And people will say, well, he's not fast enough, he's not this. Well, he was in the SEC, which is apparently the greatest conference in the world, almost NFL caliber. And he was able to, I don't think he's fast, but I think he has his football speed. I think he has football talent. And there are so many players out there that don't make it. And I don't care what this guy, I really don't. I'd rather have him than a murderer or a guy like Greg Hardy that beats people up. That was proven in court. I can't get sued for that. But what I'm getting at is there are people, it's not a character flaw.
No,
it's not anything negative. And it surprises me that the NFL, his college teammates were fine with it. But yet the NFL, who has some of the biggest, baddest people on the planet, are not secure enough in their own male sexuality.
Well, and that's, like I said, that's the thing. It's like in this day and age, I find it hard to believe that you cannot accept a gay person into your locker room just as another one of the guys. He's your teammate. He's your brother. I mean, that's how they all look at each other. Why can't an NFL roster accept him? To me, Michael Sam should be on an NFL roster because I believe he is a good football player.
I do too.
Maybe he isn't track speed fast, but the man can close on a player. He can tackle. I mean, he doesn't miss tackles. He can grab you and bring you to the ground.
Well, and
he's a football player. There's got to be a place for him in the NFL.
in the preseason, Randy brought up a good point, and I'd love to tell you, but we're over, so we're not going to do it. No, I'm just kidding. We're over, but I'm going to do it anyway. So Randy brought up a good point. You know what? He was in preseason, and he had, I want to say, 4 or 5 sacks, and he had a lot of tackles. And I don't care what talent that was up against. He was besting that talent. I do think he wants to play in the NFL quite badly, and I see players take plays off. I just am saying here, he was projected to be a 4th or 3rd round pick, right?
He was projected to be a 4th round pick originally. And then this happened, or he came out and he went to the 7th round. But you know what? Even when he came out, he was still projected as a 4th round pick, but he kept sliding down the draft after the announcement.
Things happened, and you know what? I'm going to say straight up, if you are a player in any sport, and it's okay if you're going to kill people or murder or drink or drive.
Beat women, you're allowed to do that.
It's all good. But don't tell them that you're gay, because your draft stock will wait a couple years and then do it. Now, Randy, neither one of us are gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We are okay with that. But I think we're pretty open-minded.
Yeah.
And it does bug me that there are players out there that don't get chances when there are other players out there that don't deserve chances.
To me, I would rather have Michael Sam on my team over a Greg Hardy. Mm-hmm. I don't want Greg Hardy on my team. I don't want Ray Rice on my team.
Not really.
It's like I would rather have Michael Sam, who's a good character guy. You don't hear him having any major controversies. He doesn't kill anybody. He doesn't beat up people randomly.
He's a good tackler.
He's a good tackler, but I mean, here's the thing: he would be a good teammate to have.
I believe that.
But guys like Terrell Owens and Chad Johnson were terrible teammates.
Terrible locker room.
They're terrible in the locker room. They kept getting chances after chance after chance. Michael Sam to me should be on he just should be on an NFL roster.
Randy and I do think that, and we do think that there was a NFL conspiracy type. I don't know if we had this on the show or not, but I'll repeat it. He came out of Missouri, and and Missouri was a Big 8 team or a Big 12 team at one time, not that good, and yet they went and he made that team a better team and competed in the SEC. Yeah. Not just him, but the whole team. So he goes to St. Louis in the 7th round. It almost sounds like someone said, "Hey, St. Louis, can you draft him in the 7th round to give us a break?" I'm not saying that happened. It just looks bad, and it looks like the NFL isn't ready. You're just not ready. You're ready for all the other bad people, but you're not ready for this.
You can have as many. You can have as many.
17 minutes, 18 guys. If you can sneak 3 extra minutes on your break, it's worth it. We're out.